everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Katey Flowers. If you're not, you already know that. Welcome back. And if you've been here for a while, you will know that I've been kind of low-key desperate to be part of the booktube community for a long time now. And at this point, I feel a little bit like Jenna Marbles. You know how she's desperate to become a BOOKTuber, as she calls it? And she keeps making these weird beauty videos, but they're not quite as good as the real thing, but she puts her whole heart into it. I feel like that about booktube. So I've decided today to make it official. I'm now part of the booktube community. I don't care whether they know I exist or not, and I'm still gonna make my regular videos, but I want to be part of the booktube community. So I'm going to do the new to booktube tag. Now I think this is supposed to be a video you make on your brand new channel when you're gonna make a channel that's just about booktube. Clearly this is not a new channel. I've been around for like 5 years, but I want to make it official. I'm part of the booktube community now, so here's my tag. Question 1, where are you joining us from? I am from Australia. I live in Melbourne at the moment. Question 2, how old are you? I'm 29, turning 30 in September. I'm a Libra. Question 3, why did you join booktube? I'm a book nerd and I love to read, and more to the point, I really enjoyed making more book content lately. I've been on YouTube for a long time and my channel has really been quite tarot specific for a long time, and I love making that content, but I suppose I just want a bit more variety. And I love to read. I work in a bookshop, so books are an even bigger part of my life now than they ever have been. So I want to make reading vlogs and talk about books more. So really I sort of already am a booktube channel. I'm just not part of the community. So this is just making it official. And honestly, everybody over there looks like they're having so much fun and they just all seem really cool, and I just want to get in on that action. Question 4, what is the meaning behind your channel name if it's not your real name? Katey Flowers is not my real name, as cool as that sounds. Katey is, or Kate is my real name, but nobody calls me that unless I'm in trouble. The Flowers though is a little bit, that has a bit of a story. Basically, when I was in hospital, I was hospitalized for bipolar and a suicide attempt. Sorry for getting dark there for a second, but that's relevant to this story. So when I was in hospital, I decided to start a blog and I called it Ebbs and Flowers. And that was kind of a bit of a play on words of the ebbs and flow and the kind of cycles of bipolar, the ups and downs. But I wanted it to have a positive, optimistic spin. So I called it Ebbs and Flowers. And when I decided to make a YouTube channel, I didn't really know what to call it. Ebbs and Flowers didn't seem quite right because I didn't want my channel just to be about bipolar and my experience of mental illness, and I wanted my channel name to be like a name. So I just said Katey because that's my name, and then Flowers because that was the last part of the, I don't know, I just merged the two and then it stuck. And even though I don't have that blog anymore or that website anymore, I'm still Katey Flowers. So for me, Katey Flowers, even though that sounds like that's a name and both of those are nouns, to me it's Katey Flowers, and it's a verb for what I'm trying to do in life and through this channel. And so for me, this channel has always been about me and what growing and developing and becoming a more full, beautiful version of myself looks like. Hello friends, I'm back many days later because I totally forgot to answer question 5. And that is, what types of books do you read / want to talk about on your channel? And honestly, I read a mix of things. It's a mess. My Goodreads is a mess. I do read a lot of nonfiction, a lot of kind of philosophy, self-help, cultural critique sort of stuff, which makes me sound much smarter and fancier than I am. I do also make it a point to try and read at least a decent amount of Australian authors. I've also recently gotten super into manga, so that's a big thing that I read. I'm also interested in alternative spirituality and religion, so that's a big part of my reading list too. Nature writing, I love me some good nature writing and some memoirs and that sort of stuff. As far as fiction goes, I don't think I really, I read fiction and I love fiction, but I don't know that I've developed like strong language around what it is I like or particular genres that I'm like obsessed with. Margaret Atwood is my favorite author of all time, but as we know, she crosses many genres. I have found that I like science fiction, especially science fiction that's kind of like near future dystopia. I tend to really like that stuff, but I don't feel like I've read enough sci-fi to like claim a badge of like a sci-fi reader. Honestly, I'm one of those readers who kind of just goes into a bookshop and picks out some stuff that looks interesting. So that means that I kind of ebb and flow in what I'm reading. I'll read a lot of books on one sort of topic for a while, and then I'll read a lot of fiction. The only thing I can say is that I'm a slow reader, so I'm intimidated by books that are longer than 500 pages, which probably means I'm not going to read a lot of fantasy. Sorry, but it's true. So that's the only consistent thing you can expect here. Not a lot of fantasy, not a lot of long books. I guess I'm one of those readers that doesn't really sit comfortably in one lane. I'm swerving all over the road. I don't know how to drive. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's happening. I just read. I read what I want when I want. Question 6 is, who are some of your favorite authors? And my favorite author of all time is definitely Margaret Atwood. I don't know if you can see, I have quite a lot of her books. I have not read all of her books, but I've read a lot of them, and she's been my favorite author since I was 15, I think. And that's fine. For me though, I just love her storytelling. I love the way that she gets into the mind of characters. I love the way that she challenges moral assumptions, and that even though her feminism is quite different to mine, she makes me think about the world in a different way. And I think reading The Handmaid's Tale when I was 15, I don't know, it sparked that beginning political awakening for me, I suppose, which is pretty powerful. Not all of her books are perfect by all means, but I love her, and I love her in particular for what she's done for me as a reader. Question 7 is, what is the last book you read? For me, that was Goodnight Pun Pun volume number 3. I've only recently got into manga. I did a whole video on that. And the first volume of this made me laugh. It was absurd and it was dark, but it also was very, very funny. I thought anyway, but the last couple of volumes that I've read have lost that humor altogether and are just really dark and depressing. So I'm still enjoying it, but nowhere near as much as I was for the first. Question 8, what are you currently reading? Well, following on from volume 3, I am reading volume 4 of Goodnight Pun Pun, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And I'm also reading How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy by Jenny Odell, which I'm reading along with my Blossom Book Club over on my Discord channel. And I'm really, really liking it. Also, the cover is so pretty. Question 9 is, what do you use for bookmarks? And I kind of use whatever I have around, because I very often forget to pick up a bookmark when I pick up a new book. So I'll be in bed or whatever and go to close a book that I've just started and realize I don't have a bookmark, so I tend to just use whatever is lying around. But when I'm being a little more civilized, I do have bookmarks around, some that I bought mostly from work. Others are more like the promotional bookmarks that come when you order a book online. And the other thing I use a lot are tarot cards, especially like the title cards that come with decks. Question 10 is, show us your TBR pile. My TBR pile is huge, it always is, and it's always growing larger. At the moment, it consists of a lot of books that I bought at work. I work in an esoteric bookshop, so we have an interesting collection of books. It's very niche. But I bought a lot of those because I get a really good staff discount, so it is hard to say no. And then also a lot of manga, which is down on that bottom shelf, because I stocked up in my excitement at my new manga journey, and I am really enjoying that, but I have a lot to read. Question 11 is, which do you prefer, hardback or paperback, ebook or physical book, or owning or borrowing? I'm honestly not that fussy. I love hardbacks because they feel beautiful, they look beautiful, but they are a bit heavier and a bit harder to carry around. So I'm not that fussy, to be perfectly honest. And my preference changes depending on my mood. Ebook or physical book? I think I do definitely prefer physical books, but I also do enjoy Kindle from time to time, especially for certain things. I don't like it for non-fiction so much because I want to be able to kind of flip the pages back and forth, sort of a thing. So I definitely prefer it for fiction. I don't mind it for manga. It's actually quite good for manga if a series that you want to read is on there. I do prefer physical books, but I think the Kindle and ebooks definitely have a place. And obviously the big benefit is that you don't end up with so many books that you don't have any room for them anymore. And then owning or borrowing. I really love borrowing a book from a friend from time to time, and I do want to utilize my library more now that I have a card again. But I think I do prefer owning a book for the most part. Partly because then I don't have to worry. I know that I'm careful with my books, but I'm not overly precious. And occasionally I do like to write in my books. So as much as I love borrowing a book from a friend, owning it takes that pressure off, and it does mean I can be a little bit more free. If I want to write something in it, I want to highlight it, if I want to bend a page over. Question 12 is, what book or series got you into reading? Now I suppose this has a few answers. When I was really young, the first series that kind of really got me like enjoying reading for the first time was the Wicked series by Maurice Glitzman and Paul Jennings, I think it was. This was like in primary school, I think like year 4 or something. And both of these authors are quite big on their own in Australia, but they came together for this kind of collaborative project where they each wrote from the perspective of a character kind of, you know, every other chapter. And it was this weird kind of science fiction-y thing where it was something about sheep and they were sort of zombie sheep or something. It was weird, but I really liked it because it was funny and it was weird, and one of the main characters was a girl, so I loved her. But I didn't really get into reading consistently until the end of year 11 when I got into English Extension and we got assigned 3 books to read over the summer holidays. That was Rebecca, Frankenstein, and The Handmaid's Tale. I hated Frankenstein. I really liked Rebecca, and I loved The Handmaid's Tale. And so I was 15, read those books. They were my first kind of like grown-up books. And I remember thinking, especially when I was reading The Handmaid's Tale and Rebecca, I kind of didn't always know exactly what was going on. Certainly with The Handmaid's Tale, I knew I didn't understand everything as much as I should, but it still just made me think. And it was the first time I kind of realized like, whoa, books can take me to an entirely different place and really making me think about things I'd never thought about before. Opening my mind, man. So I would say that is when I fell in love with reading. Question 13 is, how did you discover BookTube? And I don't remember the specifics. It was probably just the same way you discover most things online. Just clicking one thing and then clicking another, and then the algorithm knowing you better than you know yourself and recommending you something. Question 14 is, what challenges do you think you'll face with your channel? Now, this is going to be a bit different for me because I've been on YouTube and this channel has been around for more than 5 years. So I'm not new to this whole thing. I have found even already, just with kind of trying to add new and different content to what I normally make into the mix, I think naturally some people who subscribe to me for one thing won't appreciate seeing a different thing. And also I think kind of making my way into BookTube might be challenging because I'm not just a BookTube channel, because I have a whole history of other stuff. So I think kind of navigating that boundary of where I fit and who wants to watch this stuff and who this is for, I think I'm finding that a little bit challenging. I also think I probably don't read the same sort of stuff a lot of booktubers do. Not like I'm not like other girls sort of a thing, but I know that fiction is a really big part of BookTube, and even though I really do enjoy fiction, I don't read a huge amount of it. And when I do, I've intentionally been trying to read more Australian fiction, which obviously doesn't have as big a global audience. And I think that's great that people read different things, but I think it's harder to engage in dialogue when you're reading something so different to what another person is reading. So I think that's another thing that I'm gonna have to navigate. And question 15 is, where else can we find you? And basically it's here or on Instagram. Instagram, I kind of just post whatever I want. Like, it's a lot more kind of chill over there as compared to my YouTube channel, which is still pretty chill, but is a bit more structured, is a bit more themed. So I'm a bit more relaxed and personal over on my Instagram. I don't take it as seriously. I do have a website, but I don't do anything with that anymore, so don't bother with that. It's just here on Instagram. But that is all. Please BookTube, please accept me. I do love you so much, and I watch a lot of you and have done for a long time. Thank you to everyone for watching this video, for supporting me on Patreon, and a big extra special thank you goes to Tracy Timmerman, Laurie, Lynette Brown, The Hales K, and Biffy Rose. Those of you who've been hanging around for a while, I'm still gonna make a mix of content, but obviously there has been a shift to more book stuff over the past probably 18 months. And this is just making it official that I make book videos and I make read along and reading vlogs, and I love making that content. So I'm gonna keep making it, and hopefully BookTube will accept me as one of them. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you hang around, and I will talk to you all again soon. This is the worst ending to a video ever, but thank you so much for watching. Much love. Bye.